So some of you guys may not be aware and some of you guys may be aware, but as of right now, or at least like 9 days ago, they're resetting the Arbiter fight every single month as of right now. So I believe if they follow this trend, the next month is going to be Strength's fight, and this month is going to be Temperance fight. Last month was Hermit, and I thought it was going to be a Hermit for like, I don't know, a couple more months or so, but it rotates every month. I think it's only these three as of right now. I could be wrong, but following this trend, it might be Strength next, and then recycle back to Hermit until a next story update or something. But I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do with these Arbiter fights. It could just do all 7 or whatever, or not 7, Jesus, 20 something Arbiters here. Not exactly sure. But regardless, today's video is we're going to talk about the Temperance fight and whatnot. So there is a difficulty below. This one is normal, but I don't have it. Well, I finished already, so I'm going to talk about the hard one in terms of prefixes as of right here. So this is a light cruiser fight, guys, so remember that light cruiser right here. Shield deflective every 20 seconds. This can be pretty annoying, I'm not going to lie. This is probably like the most annoying tag on here when it comes to these three right here. And as always, when it's at 30%, negates volley damage from battleships and whatnot. Kind of annoying, I know, but not battleships, just shells in general. Vanguards as well too. And then this one right here. Now this could be scary, but I personally don't think it's that scary. This fight doesn't really do that much damage to you compared to the previous Arbiter fights. It's just very annoying. So that being said, let's talk about ways to get stronger for here. Let's talk about gear first. So gear, obviously, again, your front line isn't going to be doing the most damage or whatnot. It's there for survivability and buffing. Most of your damage, as always, is going to come from your back line. So when it comes to back line, let's talk about carriers first. So if you want to gear up your carriers, the best way of doing it is going to be the AP rockets. If you guys don't have AP rockets, they're from PR4 and they're very good for this fight. So let me just find some AP rockets real quick. I think Haku may have some. Just kidding, she doesn't. AP rockets are these things right here. You get them from PR4 researches. So if you guys don't have PR4 rockets right here, I recommend doing them to get some of these because they are very good. Modifiers on them are really good for light armor, 110 right here. So these are the best planes you can use for this fight because they are so good for light armor fight in particular. So get these, they're going to help out a lot. As for your dive bombers and torpedo bombers, just use whatever you have. Obviously go for converging bombers, but they won't have the highest modifiers on light armor because they're about 80 right here. But the AP rockets are going to be your best friends here. They're going to help you out a lot. And as for battleships, if you guys don't already know, you're going to want to use HE guns. So HE gun, if you guys don't know which HE guns to use, just use the generic ones. Monarch's gun, if I can find it. I never made these guns, but I'll go ahead and show it to you guys. Monarch's gun is good here. The triple 406 is good here. But let me show you the Monarch gun real quick. The Monarch gun is, if I can find it real quick, is gonna be where is it at? I'm blind, sorry. It's these guns right here. So if you guys have these guns, you want to make some, go ahead and do that. You guys use the FDG gun that you got from this current event if you guys have that as well too. But I'm more a fan of the triple 406 MK6, which is my go-to bossing gun for pretty much everything HE related, which are these bad boys right here. So go ahead and slot those in. Otherwise, if you do have that MK7 that was from New Jersey's event, this is probably the best gun you can use as of right now for the fight, followed up by these guns right here. So if you guys have those, use them because you need the HE to do damage to the Temperance fight because they have extremely high modifiers, 140 on the boss. So I highly recommend doing that. It's gonna do a significant amount of damage for the boss fight. Now I'm gonna recommend you guys ships that are good here. So if you guys are running carriers, buffers are really good here. Me particularly, I don't think this boss hits really hard, but you still may need a little tank Vanguard that you can bring along with you. Preferably someone can do DPS as well too. I don't think this boss is that scary for DPS if they're like below 125. So just bring whatever DPS Vanguard you guys have that can tank, like Drake. The new Prince ships can work too. Just any durable ships. After that, you want to have buffers, right? So you want to have like Kazaguma with the air resistance, or not air, the air raid assistance buff. If you can find her somewhere, she's a good ship to bring. Any other kind of like air raid assistance ship can do too, like Stephen Potter, Curlew, stuff like that. And Sirius. So a lot of people don't know that Sirius and air raid assistants like Kazugumo and Sirius, they're buff stacks. So Sirius offers a really good buff for this fight because not only is it 10% aviation buff for all your carriers, it also increases their hit rate against DD, CLs, and CAs by 10%. So if you guys don't already know, this boss fight is going to be a light cruiser. It's going to help you out a lot. Not to mention she's 5 levels higher than you, so there may be a chance that you're going to miss. So having that buff is really, really good. So Sirius, air raid assistance, and of course, if you guys can, bring Helena as well too. Because Helena, as always, goes into pretty much every single boss fleet because of this scan buff right here, which is really, really good. Right, so those are going to be the Vanguards. As for your backline, let's talk about your carriers first. So the carriers here, as always, I recommend if you have the UR carriers such as Shinano and Haku, definitely use those. They're going to be very, very good. If you guys are on a budget, I highly recommend these ships right here. Enterprise is really good here because Lucky E is still very, very powerful. To this very day, is still very powerful. If you guys have August von Parsifal, very, very good ship here. I recommend having her at Developer 30. Otherwise, she may cut out just a little bit because you're missing the perma stats at being 6 stars. So you might be a little bit behind on airstrikes. But if you have her at Developer 30, she's really, really, really good for this fight if you can use her. Aside from that, though, if you guys don't have August von Parsifal, Tico is really good. Her barrage has high light armor mods on it, so it's very powerful for this fight. If you want to invest in Tico, I think some of you guys don't have her at 125, and I highly recommend you use 125 ships because it's going to be worlds of difference compared to using a 120 ship. And probably one of the best light armor damage dealer in the game for carriers is going to be Illustrious. If you guys don't know, Illustrious Barrage has really high light armor mods as well too. So if you guys want to invest into that, that's really good. Not to mention she has 2 fighter slots right here. If I can go to check right here, 2 fighter slots at 125. Mine's not max limit break, but 125%. 2 AP rockets right here is going to do big damage. All right. So those are some budget ships that you can use. Otherwise, just use whatever fighters you guys, whatever carriers you guys have. Preferably ones with fighter slots because you want to have those AP rockets. Otherwise, if you guys don't have AP rockets, just run regular carrier stuff like Corsairs, dive bombers, and whatnot. Just build it regularly because aside from like offering the AP rockets or whatever, there's not much options because the AP rockets are just really, really good for this fight. So if you guys don't have those, just use like Corsairs or something because these bombs may not have the highest mods on them, like 80 mods right here is not that great, but it'll just do something, right? So highly recommend you guys use AP rocket planes, these things right here. Otherwise, just use whatever you guys have for carriers, but make sure you have the good ships like Enterprise, August von Parsifal if you can, Tico, Illustrious, Muse. Hell, even Illustrious can probably be really, really good here. She has 2 fighter slots, so I can definitely see it being pretty good. What are the efficiencies on these? Let me see. 135. It could be really helpful here. I'm not gonna lie. It could be pretty good here. But definitely though, August von Parsifal is really good here. You guys have them, and obviously UR gadgets, UR carriers and whatnot. Now let's go to battleships. The battleships here, you want to use HE guns. So guess what, guys? The newest battleship in the game, Ulrich von Hutten, is very good with HE ammo. Oh my god, 15% increase. That's pretty insane, right? Ulrich here is going to be very, very key for taking on Temperance. Coincidentally, came out this month, or not this month, like late last month for the Temperance fight, right? Kind of crazy, I know. Any other HE ship works really well here, like Richelieu is good here. I want to say Champagne could work here, but I think her damage falls off short compared to Richelieu's, but she has the Siren Killer buff, so that could work as well too. Obviously, the New Jersey works well. Basically, anyone with just HE damage output is going to be very, very good here. So my recommendations obviously is going to be New Jersey. FDG works too. Ulrich. Now Georgia can definitely work because it's Siren Killer. She has a 3 lower spread on just any main gun in general, but her buff works towards heavy armor or like medium armor. So it's not really good on light armor, but you can still make it work. Not a fan of like the other ships because they have like AP barrage and whatnot. Like Monarch has AP barrage. I think King George could work too. But definitely like Richelieu, maybe Champagne, Ulrich, and New Jersey are probably going to be your key battleships here if you guys can do that. So those are my recommendation for you guys for this fight. So aside from the most part, it's not like super difficult like the Hermit. I think Hermit was much more difficult compared to the Temperance fight. The only thing annoying about the Temperance fight, aside from just like the tags and whatnot, is that she summons a clone towards the end of the fight. In order to deal with that, you're gonna have to get rid of it. And if you guys are using carriers, the AI is dumb and it's gonna start torpedo bombing the carrier, the clone. So my best advice for you guys, if you guys are playing on manual, is to save your airstrikes right before Temperance gets right behind the clone. So when you airstrike, the clone blows up with the torpedo bombers and whatnot, and Temperance will take the collateral damage. Otherwise, if you play battleships though, just aim for Temperance. It shouldn't take away that much aggro from the clone or whatever from your extra volleys. So battleships have a much easier time here compared to carriers. But at 30% or whatever, she does have the shell reduction, so you want to use carriers at the end. Just make sure you guys probably gonna have to waste one airstrike blowing up the clone, but if you guys want to get the maximum value out of that clone, is just to blow up the clone along with Temperance for collateral damage. So good luck, guys. This boss isn't too difficult compared to Hermit. Wish you guys the best of luck, and I'll see you guys in the next video.